Daily Download.
Rare photos of the U.S. Capitol never seen before. Voice of America's exclusive with First Lady Laura Bush. And life is nothing more than a skip, hop, and a jump away, well, from something. Welcome to the Daily Download. Today, Americans are celebrating the life of an African-American and civil rights pioneer, Martin Luther King, Jr.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
With that speech before hundreds of thousands of people in Washington in August of 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. galvanized the American public with his eloquent plea for equality for all. During the 1950s and 60s, King rose to prominence, preaching nonviolence and participating in many protests and boycotts calling for an end to segregation and racial discrimination. The demonstrations were pivotal moments in the civil rights movement in America that led to the passage of laws guaranteeing equal treatment for African Americans and other minorities. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee.
Daily Download.
It is not often we can bring you new photos of an event from 142 years ago, but the U.S. Library of Congress has just discovered 3 misfiled negatives from the second inauguration of President Abraham Lincoln on March 4, 1865. The photos show the large crowd gathered in the rain at the U.S. Capitol. America was in the final days of its Civil War, and you can see the military mingling with the crowd. During the legendary president's first inauguration in 1861, the U.S. Capitol building was still under construction, which Lincoln insisted should proceed despite the war. The newly discovered photos add to what is known about Lincoln's 1865 inauguration. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated just a month into his second term on April 15, 1865. U.S. First Lady Laura Bush says Afghan society has made great strides since the Taliban were driven from power. She says the people of Afghanistan are rebuilding a stable, democratic society. Mrs. Bush visited the country in 2005, and she cites a 25% drop in infant mortality and 5 million children in school, many of them girls. In an interview with VOA, Laura Bush says advances in education have come at a cost.
I understand the fear that particularly women, but women and men have in Afghanistan when they talk about education, something that was denied before during the Taliban. Their lives have changed, and they've changed for the better.
The First Lady says she hopes to return to Afghanistan as a private citizen and continue working for the country's women and children. Oh, you can get some of the latest news and information from around the world. All you have to do is go to our website at voanews.com. Man surely has evolved over time, hasn't he? But what are these guys doing? Well, it's a trend that's spreading from the French suburbs to London, to Rome, and now Tehran. It's called parkour, or l'art du déplacement, an art form that involves roof jumping, fence vaulting, wall scaling, in fact, anything you can negotiate by hand or foot.
Parkour was known in Iran 6 years ago, and we started playing it professionally since then. We can say that both police and sports federations cooperate and help us, and this sport is finding its right place in Iran. We hope that this sport will correctly become popular in our country.
The sport began in the 1980s, founded by Frenchman David Bell, who was influenced by martial arts and gymnastics and military obstacle course training. Well, let nothing stand in your way. That's it. Thanks for clicking in. Maybe tomorrow you can skip, hop, and jump by. We'll see you then.